Hello, and welcome back to Mudflood Mystery North. This is going to be my part 2 of Tartarians and Acadians in North America. Yeah, my computer got too hot and canceled, shut down on me while I'm mid-recording, so I can't even do the, stop recording and start recording thing. So anyways, I decided to just, I'd had enough and I gave it a break yesterday. And now I'm back because I had more to say on this stuff. So thank you guys for everyone who watched the previous one. I think it's up to 70 views in less than 12 hours. It's the magic word Tartarian. You put that in your title and suddenly people are interested. It's the hot topic right now. As it should be, because we're on to something, guys. We're on to something. So, without further ado, I'm just going to launch straight back into what I was talking about, which was the connections, the common connections we have with Tartaria, finding little hints that Tartary has made its made a bit of a place here in North America. So I just, on this old map that I was showing last time, guys, I did want to show you, we have Tartaria right here. So this is, where Mongolia is. So Mongolia is over here, but in this northern part, of the USSR or USSR, that's, or whatever it is now. I guess I should know more. I always feel like I'm not calling it the right thing. The former Soviet Union, whatever they call it. Anyways, there it is. Tartaria. Now, this shows up on no maps. We get other maps like later than a certain time, like 1900 or something. Like, it's just like it gets completely wiped out. And we will speak no more of the Tartary nation. So anyways, one of the things, one common thread that we see, guys, are eagles. So eagles are found in a lot of different cultures. Okay, let's see, countries with the eagle emblem. So we have the United States, we have Albania, Austria, Mexico, Montenegro, a bunch more. It goes on. Now let's just take a look at the eagle of Tartary. So it's a double-headed eagle, is usually associated with the Tartarian eagle. It's on different emblems and different, and different shields and things they have. But they're also, here's another really good one of Tartarian. So the wings outspread, the talons also holding one or two objects. Now this, I don't know if you remember, we were looking at the American crest, and it has very close to this, just like one head. Let's see if I have it here. So here's the German eagle, which we see a lot of, right? And then the American crest also, you probably know it well, where it's holding the arrows. And then in the, let's just see here. What do we got here? If I move down, let's just see here. Images. Okay, so there's the American one right there, okay? So that's the American one. Very similar to the Tartarian, right? Very similar to this. And, I mean, you can't deny that is, this is the Tartarian eagle. And then we have, the American eagle. I'm going to close that up and we can look. There's other ones. This is a double-headed eagle. This is the emblem of the Paleologos dynasty. I don't even know how old that is. But again, I don't want to keep going down these rabbit holes because in order for my computer not to die on me, I've decided to start a 30-minute timer so that I'll know when time's up before my computer dies on me. And also, I think possibly that 30-minute videos is probably 40-minute videos is probably the maximum. You can check how long people have watched the videos on average, and I rarely have people. The average is rarely the whole video. It's usually like, the average is 10 to 15 minutes. If maybe the average is 8 minutes, which I hope more people listen to at 15 minutes. Anyways, so here we go, guys. Lots of pictures of eagles. So in cultures, in countries, this adaptation, this worldwide adaptation of the eagle, and not just the eagle, but the double-headed eagle, or the eagle with the wings outspread, or the talons outspread. Usually both. You can see the German ones have it. You can see the Mexican one down here is a little bit different, but still wings spread. And here's another thing. There we have a serpent. Now we have eagles, we have serpents. We also have, we'll have griffins and unicorns which show up. So there's a common thread that shows up. It's also worldwide architecture, guys. And there's been kind of an event that's happened all over the world, the world fairs or the world exhibitions that have happened all over the world. But I would suggest that they happen in countries where Tartarian influence is apparent. So let's go straight now to the Canadian exhibition, and this is the first Canadian exhibition was in 1879. What I find strange is that it doesn't actually list it in some of the lists I have of world exhibitions. They'll have one in 1878 and then one in 1880, which we'll see in a minute. But let me just show you some of these images here from 1879 in Canada, in Toronto. Now I want to tell you, our population in 1879 in the Toronto area was not a million. It wasn't even, it was around, in 1879 from my memory, I think it was around 300 to 400,000 people. This exhibition did draw in maybe a larger number, but my point being the workforce to make some of these structures that we're looking at. I don't know if you've been to the Canadian exhibition. First of all, we're talking about a highly Christian time. Churches of Christian faith apparently were popping up everywhere, and everyone was going to them because like the amount of churches that are in Toronto at this time means pretty much the entire population was going to church, to Christian church. And then we make this world exhibition for Canada, and what do we see, guys? Okay, so is this an angel? Some people say it's an angel, but then some people start saying that's ISIS. No, that's not. These aren't Christian images here. And there is a very Romanesque. I'll use that word very loosely. There's a Tartarian sort of feeling about it. We've got our pillars. And we've got all the things we've come to know, the archways, the really big pieces of stone that are used. Okay, and this is what we're getting more and more used to seeing this stuff. The domes. Okay, this is the Canadian exhibition. I'm veering away. So let me move to the list here so we can just see how many exhibitions there were. Okay, so the first exhibition was the Great Exhibition, and it was in the United Kingdom, and it happened in 1851. I'll just go to this one here because I know it'll show us some pictures, but it was an amazing exhibition. It had incredible buildings. It had this Crystal Palace. That was this giant glass building they made. Now, Crystal Palaces are actually another common denominator between these exhibitions. They're the thing that everybody wanted to make. In fact, France, when they had their exhibition, not much later, they tried to build one too, the one that was supposed to be bigger and better. So we have them in the UK now, and there are more in Europe. But let's talk about the ones that are in North America, since that's what this video is about. So here we go. The Chicago exhibition of 1893. Hello, Chicago. You look amazing. This is, I guess, 20 years, or about 15 years later than the Canadian. Was it? Let's just double check that. I better check my facts here. The Canadian exhibition of 1879. Yeah, so it'd be to 89, it'd be 10 years, and then to 93. So yeah, about 14 years later. Look at the similarities, guys. Okay, we've got our domed roof. We've got our robed character, this Roman-looking guy. He's holding a torch. He's got a winged thing on the other. Is this our ISIS? Is this But again, guys. So here's where we see the commonalities. We've got this classic peak with the columns. We've got this dome here, and I mean, yeah, okay, so it's Chicago. It's not that far from Toronto, but the story around these guys is that, we're going to have an exhibition. We're going to build this in, a short period of time. It's going to exist for a little while, and then we're going to destroy it and take it away. So these were basically considered, they were considered temporary structures. Okay, let's read quickly about, like, Chicago, for example. Okay, let's just read this real quick here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want like a wiki. Okay. The World's Columbian Exposition of 1893 was the first World's Fair held in Chicago, carving out 600 acres of Frederick Law Olmsted Jackson Park. The exhibition was a major milestone. Congress awarded Chicago the opportunity to host the fair over the other candidate cities of New York, Washington, D.C., and St. Louis, Missouri. More than 150,000 people passed through the grounds each day during its 6-month run, making it larger than all the U.S. World Fairs that preceded it. So they were already having these World Fairs, guys. And then this is what happens. Then we have we have either destruction or fire, like either demolition or fire. So this was carved out of swamp, basically, or out of some park, and they just built this for a fair. Okay, and the narrative is the same when we go to the American Institute Fair of 1873 in New York. Okay, similar architecture again, guys. And these fairs, their purpose was to bring the world to the viewers. Okay, to the attenders. Okay, we have the Louisiana Purchase of 1904, another World Fair. Just look at this place. And this is supposed to be another temporary structure. This is something where they end up demolishing and destroying it not too long later, or at least a bunch of it saving only a little bit. But guys, look at this, and it's the same stuff. I'm not going to take too much time to zoom in on this, but I'm sure we'll have our statues of Isis. We'll have our mythological creatures like griffins and phoenixes and plenty of eagles, because you know what? It keeps showing up, guys. These crazy archways, these stupas. So here we are in Louisiana. Then this one here in San Francisco, another place that is just a suspect of Tartarian. San Francisco has areas that you can see through satellite footage that you can see where the old grids of cities are. That it no longer is. It's just like an imprint in the ground of where old roadways and subdivisions. It looks like it's like a grid basically that you can see. But look at this, guys. I mean, this is in 1904. You know, the populations and the workforces just don't add up, let alone the timing, how long it would take to build and design these structures. And then just after building them, just within decades, just deciding to destroy them. What's this amazing thing? I've never seen that. Like, wow. Right, guys? I mean, and again, this is a country that at this time was expected to be Christian. For the most part, we are followers of Christ. For the most part, at least that's what we're told. That's how I was brought up. So at the same time, okay, earlier in 1855, we've got Paris doing it. Okay, look at the Crystal Palaces in Paris. Just awesome stuff. And that's places where we have things like the Eiffel Tower, which is arguably a giant antenna for free energy. And that stuff's going on. We even have it in, this is, you guys would know where this is. Sorry. This is another European, expo. And I can't remember. I think it's Munich. Yeah. Anyways, again, guys, I mean, look at this coin here. World Fair. See, we've got griffins, right? We've got all the Tartarian stuff on this coin here. So, what does this mean to me? Look, even in Australia. Here's Australia, guys. And you may not realize this, but Australia is full of Tartarian influence as well. Old buildings. They've got tons of pictures from the 1800s. It's the same architecture. This could be Toronto. This could be Chicago in 1900, 1850s. It could all be the same. And these are the links we're talking about, guys. And I'm just going to throw this out here, a little theory I have. Okay, so before okay, we have newspapers, sure. Well, we probably have we probably have publications, but what the world fairs to me could what they could be. You got all these people showing up by the millions. Basically, the whole country would be traveling to see the wonders of the world. How could this serve the controllers? How could this serve those people who want to have control over the nation? This is mass education of what is and what isn't. This is your pop culture fell swoop. Let's tell them what technology can and can't do. Let's get people to believe or not believe what we want them to believe or not believe. This is the be all and end all. This is the whole world and its truths, right? So it's creating a narrative. But also underneath it all, guys, and this is what I am a believer in, it is a celebration of the hidden culture. It's a celebration of the hidden controllers who have come through the ages and maintained control over the masses, the sleeping masses. And right in our faces, they do this, they suddenly expose all this incredibleness and tell us it was, it just happened now, and we are all just creating this from the last 100 years or whatever in the last 20 years to build some of these things. So I've mixed in some of my personal beliefs, but this video is sort of just about giving you some of the theories and backgrounds around why we're starting to, this picture is emerging that Tartarians were here. We have an older civilization that was here before the narrative of the British colonies coming here and developing this land. And so there's plenty of, if you check out UAP, you check out John Levi and a couple others, you're going to find some really great stories and comparisons that show you how these cities just could not have been made in the time that they were made, right? And I think that is also a connecting the dots kind of thing for us in this narrative. So I wanted to keep moving on here. Let's see what else I got. So Melbourne. No, here we are. Okay, yeah. So we have our list of world fairs. And I use this list to sort of find out some choice spots in North America to show you guys that where we had world fairs. And here you'll see by country, they have little flags up for when these world fairs happen. And there were world fairs and there was also world expositions and and exhibitions. So I don't know, they were called exhibitions or exhibitions. I don't know the difference in those meanings. But one thing that I wanted to point out here, which I thought was really interesting. So when you look down this list, you'll have the exposition and it'll have it in red, meaning it has no information, or it'll have it in blue, meaning there's a link to go to that you can go. So here's in the United Kingdom, look at that building, 1862, the Great London Exhibition, the first exhibition. A dome, a giant energy antenna, these long rows of columns, I'm sure they are, all these sort of free energy buildings. Now, when we're talking about energy, you'd think, okay, so the exhibition would be where you would be learning about energy. That's where they would like, this is the world's technological center showing up to make their exhibition of what they know. Can I just show you something here? In 1882, in the United Kingdom, the International Electric Exhibition needs citation. 1883, Vienna in Austria, the International Electric Exposition needs citation. Why are the electrical expositions in need of citation? Because at that time, the stuff they were doing was incredible. I mean, electricity was just making its... That's why there was an exhibition for electricity, because it was changing the world. The way we used energy and power and how we were learning how to harness the energy and power of our planet. It was happening, man. So they were like basing like the whole, let's like, if we go to Vienna, we go to Austria here, like look at Vienna. Look at this place. This is the place We can do one better. Let's say Vienna in the 1800s, right? So we all know Vienna is like super old, and some of this, like I would bet that this building was probably built sometime in the 1800s. Vienna City Hall. I'm just gonna guess, but what we know from architecture. So here's where they were having the, in a city that had buildings like this is where they were having the electrical exhibition. And I don't know, guys. I feel like that's a smoking gun. I mean, why don't we know about what they were trying to share with each other in those years about electricity? Why is that left out? And so it's these holes and the connections that make us, this community, start to question, that we're not really being told the whole truth. In fact, we're being told outright lies in order to, keep this narrative alive. So I'm going to move a little bit further from that, and I did touch on something in the last video, which I just sort of zipped past, and it's a pretty big one, guys, but I don't know if you didn't watch the last one. I'll pull up this map that I started the video with just to show you quick. So one thing that was striking about this map and a couple others from this time period was that there was, okay, so here's Tartaria, here's North America. In my last one, we talked about Quivira being a Tartarian city. We talked about Chicago being a Tartarian city. This would presumably be the St. Lawrence, right? We have Canada here, but I don't know. Canada's not a nation yet, so this is either the Canada River, or it's a Canada name given to another region. So I just wanted to point out that there are no Great Lakes. Yeah, there's no Great Lakes on this map. And this map is from 1597-98. Great Lakes are huge. If you don't know the topography of Canada or the States or North America, take a quick look at the size of the lakes. In fact, I can show you quite quickly here. I actually had some tabs because I was going to talk about this a little bit. But so here we are. Where this is the area close to where I live, and I'm just going to zoom out so you get a sense for what we're talking about for Great Lakes. Okay, so there they are, the Great Lakes. So you can see, I'll pull way out. Look at the size of these things, okay? Not to be missed, not even on this rudimentary map. Okay, it's just, there's no way you would miss lakes this size. Now I wanted to show you something interesting as well. So we have Milwaukee, Chicago, Cleveland, Ohio, and we also have Toronto is up here as well. I definitely know Toronto, Chicago, and I would certainly say Cleveland are all what I would call Tartarian suspect cities. They've all, let's look here. So we got, like, here's Cleveland in 1900, okay? The same thing. We got the same buildings happening. Same, this building's probably, 50 to 100 years old, even in the 1900s or whatever it is. Let's look at Detroit's also on these lakes, on the Great Lakes. So here's, again, more Tartarian style buildings, just incredibly done. With mud flood evidence, right? These sunken windows that make zero sense, but then a completely developed grounds and everything around it, but not how this building. And so there we go to Detroit. Philadelphia is another one that's pretty close. Let's see where. So there's Pittsburgh. Philadelphia's further down. It's not on the Great Lakes, but anyways, my point being, and it's funny because you turn a timer on, I feel like I'm rushing, but so we've got these Great Lakes. Now, the big question is, it makes sense to make these big cities like Chicago, this Tartarian city, it makes sense to put it on the Great Lakes.